Welcome to the Conscious Change Agent Web Show Part 4 with my guest Joe Kittel. And we're going to close the show by looking a little bit more at spirituality and deepening relationship and how those two things come together. So I want to ask you, oftentimes it seems to me, in a business context and in other contexts, when two people are, there's a possibility for any form of relationship, it might be that we inhabit different worldviews, or we have different spiritual systems, or we have, the lens or heuristic that we're looking at the world through is different. So what's best practice for trying to still relate authentically with someone that has a different worldview like that? How possible is that?
Well, I think it's life. I think you have to do that.
Yeah.
And I think whenever there's a different worldview and we don't acknowledge it,
yeah,
then when I look at your behavior, this is from the world of alliancing, when I look at the behavior of the other company, people in the other company, and I don't understand their culture, which is worldview, then I end up labeling their behavior as a sign of deviousness, incompetency, or lunacy.
Some good options.
So I think that's come up in individuals as well. When I'm with somebody and they're behaving in a way that I don't understand,
Yeah, we're going to tend
I think they're crazy, devious, or trying to screw me over.
Right.
And so the only solution there is to share perspective. And in the world of business, what I have people do when two companies are working together, so let's say you're Microsoft and I'm HP, we've got challenges. I think you're commoditizing everything. You don't understand long-term sales. You don't appreciate the customer. You're just concerned about the wins. You think I'm too slow and a laggard. We don't understand each other's perspective. So what I have, in order to understand the cloud or the shadows between us, I ask people to openly and honestly share perspective. As I'm working with you, how do I see you? Make statements that are unemotional, but there's observation of fact. And then, how could I get outside myself and look at me through your eyes? How do I think you see me? And you tell me how you see me and how you think I see you. So we're looking back and forth, through four lenses, if you will, on this cloud or this divergent perspective, corporate cultural differences. And as we share that perspective, we begin to understand this cloud, these shadows between us. And the more we share honestly about what we see, how we see the other, how we see this cloud between us, then trust is developed.
Yes.
And so what I say is, if you need to bring trust into a relationship, use confrontation. Create a situation that calls for trust, and then you can trust that trust will come. You either trust or you don't, And I differentiate confrontation from conflict. Conflict is if I'm attacking you as a person.
Yeah.
Confrontation is if you and I are co-fronting or co-facing an issue between us. We're sharing perspective on this thing in our relationship. There's something that stands between us. And we examine it. We look at it fearlessly and thoroughly, an idea from 12-step recovery. If you will, the one metaphor I use is if you've been camping and you have these headlamps.
Yes. I was just camping this weekend in Moab. So
Okay.
Yes,
So get another headlamp for your significant other and try to describe something between you. You need to both shine your light on it. But I need to be careful to shine my light on that thing between me, because if I look up and shine it on you, you get really pissed because I'm blinding you.
Yes.
And so it's, co-face the issue between us.
Yeah.
That helps to transcend and transform that. Because there's always something underneath that pile of shit. There's obviously insight and understanding. But I say even more than that, there is a new opportunity there, hidden underneath that cloud. And so, that's what I say.
Well, this ties in.
And that deepens relationship.
Uh-huh.
Because you have enemies, and you have a challenging relationship with somebody, and when you work through that, you become best of friends. Because you used confrontation to call for trust, and trust came.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're reminding me a little bit of, I remember one of the guys I back in the day she had an office with in London. So slightly different context, but just saying that one of the things that was different in his intimate relationship was that it was the first time he felt like they could kind of have a difference of opinion or even like a falling out, but there was still like this implicit, hey, I'm still going to be around for you. Mm-hmm. And that for him was his way of knowing that like he could trust the relationship. Yeah. What are you, for people who are interested in this on the level of intimate relationship, do you have any other insights or practices around how to deepen trust and deepen that relationship?
Nothing comes to mind.
No. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean the one thing. Okay, what does come to mind is I think we can bring lessons from any relationships we have. I mean, I keep hearing people say, what I talk about in the book is really relevant for interpersonal relationships. That's not by design. But I think we have relationships at work, we have relationships in the bedroom, we have relationships in every area of our life, and I think the opportunity is to learn from all of those and bring them into all of those relationships. There's a phrase I heard that says, you may have heard the first part of this, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. When the teacher's ready, the student will appear. When the student is really ready, he'll realize that teacher's with him always and everywhere. Mm. So everywhere, all the time in your life, the teacher is trying to teach us how to improve all of our relationships.
Yes.
And it just so happens that the intimate relationship is the most intimate, the most intense, and so it's the best proving ground for figuring this stuff out.
Yeah. So let's flip that on its head. Is there any point at which you would say, I'm not going to pursue this relationship anymore? Like whether that's in an alliance context or a friendship context or an intimate context, but just to say, the amount of energy that we're investing here somehow doesn't compute with it being worth working at this.
Well, I think, I'm looking at it from a business perspective and around the creation of value. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm selfish. I expect to get value out of all of my relationships. And if I'm in a relationship that's bringing me down and is a drain, as a black hole, I don't think so. Mm-hmm.
But if that happens, how do you know if that's the other person's stuff versus your stuff?
To some degree, I don't care. I think I should give it the best shot at trying to have an open and honest discussion with that person. See where that goes. Can we bring trust in the relationship? Can I understand that person?
Yeah.
If I can't, if we can't bring trust into it, if we can't do good, if it's just sucking my energy down, and I've given it my best shot, I think it's time to move on. I don't think I'm expected to have healthy, open, collaborative relationships with everybody, everywhere, all the time. Just having that clarity that says this is over is good. It's helpful.
And have you had that from a business alliance context where you've gone, we've gone at this contract for long enough, it's no longer worth it?
Yeah. In fact, that was the first strategic alliance I ever started. And probably the most strategic, the most collaborative. At a certain point in time, the HP business chose to go down in a different direction.
Yeah.
And had to shut it down.
Oh, really?
It was tough. And I've had it on an interpersonal relationship recently, not in an intimate relationship, but in a close relationship. Where I started to question the value of confrontation. Because this person, he was a spiritual person. Mm-hmm. I'm into love and harmony. Didn't want anything to do with any kind of, definitely no conflict, and I can accept that, but also no confrontation. Don't want to deal with the stuff. I get nervous if we get intense here, and we can't have that. And we parted ways in an unpleasant way, but I've come to realize that was the most I could hope for in that relationship. That it was not going to work out. Yeah.
So final question,
okay.
Like just kind of projecting out into the future. Where do you spirituality, business, love, like what do you see as the kind of dominant trends emerging in the future, and how optimistic are you about that?
Well, I'll answer what I have as my higher purpose.
Okay.
And I have hope that it'll happen. And so I think capitalism, business, has accomplished a lot of good in the world.
Right.
I think it's caused a lot of damage. And I think businesses need to wake up. Corporations need to wake up. Just like people can benefit from waking up. And on an interpersonal level, I say that where I discover the need to awaken and actually do the awakening is in a relationship. I can't do it by myself. Hermits don't live a very fulfilled life, I don't think. And so just like that in the world of business, you need intensity and you need challenge in the relationship. It's actually a good thing. And as I see it, a strategic alliance, which is getting value creation to happen between fierce competitors in a fear-based climate, is the most intense and challenging thing that a business has to deal with. It's much different than a sales relationship or a procurement relationship, which are about value exchange. This is to say, let's create something together, even though we hate each other, and which is often the case. And so I say that's the best proving ground for businesses to figure out how to awaken and to actually start awakening. So I think that's where conscious capitalism is one of the best crucibles for conscious capitalism to start happening, is in strategic alliances.
Yes.
So I see myself as at the in the eye of the hurricane for helping businesses wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm optimistic. I mean, I think, again, it gets back to love. I believe in the power of love, which means I believe in the power of God, or this force in the universe that compels us to grow. And it may turn out, as Eckhart Tolle says, that all of humanity needs to get wiped off the earth.
I don't remember that bit. Okay.
He says that, but either way, it's going to be good. We're going to learn from it, and the universe is going to progress, whether we go along with it or not. And so, I look at the challenges that the world has to face, in terms of, quote, the war on terrorism, or the economy, or the environment, and things like oneness, and love, and trust are paramount to solving those things. So I'm optimistic that that mankind is being faced with challenges that we have to face it. We have to address in a new way, and I'm interested in helping the world find that, especially the world of business.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, one last mention of this for people interested: spiritual principles in strategic alliances, and where can people find you and find this?
They can find me on my website, which is, they can just search my name or search the topic and they'll find my website. But it's spibr.org, which stands for Spiritual Principles in Business Relationships, spibr.org. And the book is also on Amazon. I think it's on all the big book resellers.
Yeah, fantastic. So spibr.org. Joe, thanks for coming on the show. It's been great to have you here.
Appreciate it.
Good luck with continuing your work. Thank you.